Welcome, focus learners, to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here. Today, we're diving into a comprehensive lesson all about the physical development of school-age children and teens. It's a huge topic, and we're going to break down the entire whole shebang, the physiological changes, the intense nutritional demands, and the essential lifestyle needs of this absolutely critical life stage.
To kick things off, let's look at this essential question. Why do prepubescent, school-age children appear to be marking time in their physical growth? It's kind of a fascinating paradox, right? We often look at kids in this phase and think, well, their growth has just hit a pause button. But beneath the surface, there is a massive amount of intricate development happening. Framing our lesson around understanding this perceived pause is really going to help us uncover exactly how to ensure optimal development for a growing child.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our agenda today covers three main areas. First up, growth, motor skills, and puberty. Second, navigating nutritional needs. And third, other essential physical needs. Section 1, growth, motor skills, and puberty. Understanding the physical shifts.
We are going to build some real energy here as we unpack the fundamental physiological changes that completely transform a child's body as they approach their teenage years. As with any great lesson, we need clear goals. By the end of this chapter, our learning outcomes are that you should be able to describe the maturation of the brain, organs, and skeleton, as well as summarize the major changes and milestones in motor development. Keep these specific knowledge goals in mind. They're our roadmap for this section.
Let's start with an essential vocab drop, puberty, the process by which the body becomes capable of reproduction. But what's totally crucial to understand here is that this whole physical transformation, it actually begins in the brain. The brain is what stimulates the ovaries in females and the testes in males to start producing sex hormones. So it's really a neurological trigger that cascades into a full body change. And this brilliantly illustrates how this timeline actually unfolds. Notice how the hypothalamus triggers that surge of hormones around age 8 for girls and 11 for boys. You can track the growth spurts, that period of rapid growth late in the school age years. For girls, that spurt peaks right around 12, whereas for boys, it peaks around 14. That massive biological variance perfectly captures why middle school classrooms look so incredibly varied in terms of height and physical maturity. Now, alongside those massive hormonal shifts, the skeleton is also transforming. Bones are ossifying, meaning they're growing larger and longer, and children are actively replacing their deciduous teeth with permanent ones. If you notice the back of the jaw there, those 6-year molars are actually the very first permanent teeth to arrive, and they set the architectural foundation for the rest of the adult mouth. With bones growing so rapidly, the muscles literally have to work overtime just to keep up. And this brings us to another great vocab drop, growth pains. I mean, we all remember complaining about aching legs as kids, right? Well, growth pains are a legitimate childhood complaint with a real scientific explanation. These are actual muscle aches caused by the muscles growing rapidly to catch up with increasing skeletal size during those school-age years. All of this skeletal and muscular growth directly impacts capability. During middle childhood, large muscle coordination becomes much more refined. But the real magic happens in how they move. Motor skills dramatically improve through better reaction time, precision, speed, strength, and flexibility. By the time they hit adolescence, their fine motor skills, those small, really precise movements, are highly developed. Section 2, navigating nutritional needs, fueling the growing body. Because let's face it, all of that rapid skeletal growth, brain development, and muscular expansion creates massive new secondary needs. The body is an engine revving high, so our learning outcomes for Module 2 will help us understand its fuel. First, we need to summarize healthful eating strategies. Second, we absolutely must be able to recognize the common causes of weight issues, and importantly, spot the indications of developing eating disorders. To really understand nutrition, we have to drop a critical and honestly often misunderstood vocabulary word, malnutrition. It is a condition in which a diet supplies an excess, a shortage, or an imbalance of calories or nutrients. We so often associate malnutrition only with starvation, but scientifically speaking, it covers a much wider spectrum of dietary imbalances. So the crucial point is breaking down the difference between overnutrition and undernutrition. Overnutrition is an ongoing intake of excess calories, often driven by heavily processed junk foods that are high in calories but super low in actual nutrition, usually combined with physical inactivity. Undernutrition, on the exact opposite side, is a continuous lack of required nutrients,
which can be caused by food insecurity, heredity, illness, or even severe mental stress. And that mental stress can manifest in highly dangerous ways, taking the form of three main types of eating disorders. An eating disorder is an illness characterized by distorted behaviors and emotions about food and weight. We see anorexia nervosa, where children engage in excessive exercise and restrict food intake regardless of hunger. Then there's binge eating disorder, which involves eating excessive quantities of food at one time, and bulimia nervosa, where a restrictive diet leads to binging, which is then followed by purging out of a deep sense of guilt. Recognizing these signs, things like baggy clothes, skipped meals, or obsessive exercising, is absolutely vital for early intervention.
Section 3. Other essential physical needs: hygiene, sleep, and tech. Moving into our final topics, we're going to expand beyond diet to look at the broader environmental and daily routines that support a growing child. Our learning outcomes here cover clothing choices and peer pressure, hygiene needs, requirements for physical activity and sleep, and finally, the undeniable impact of technology. I want to emphasize this critical data point right off the bat: 60. That is the recommended number of minutes of daily physical activity for school-aged children. Engaging in 60 minutes of aerobic exercise a day is essential not just for physical fitness and development, but it actually increases their ability to concentrate in the classroom. It's a real game changer.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the flip side to all that activity, which is rest. School-age children need a massive 9 to 11 hours of sleep nightly. If they are sleep deprived, the problems are severe. We're talking about impaired memory, difficulty concentrating, weakened coping skills, hormonal disruption, and a significantly increased chance of mental health problems. Helping teens establish a wind-down routine and literally keeping digital devices out of the bedroom is crucial for this.
As their bodies change, so do daily personal needs, specifically navigating pheromones and peer pressure in crooning. With puberty comes the production of pheromones. These are substances secreted through sweat that cause body odor when they contact skin bacteria. This means learning independent bathing techniques and using deodorants becomes a daily necessity. At the same time, peer pressure, that intense desire to be like one's peers, starts to heavily dictate preferences for well-constructed clothing. Fitting in visually becomes a major psychological need. Finally, we must address the modern environment. Let's drop our final key term: digital citizenship. This is the responsible use of technology by anyone who uses computers or devices to engage with society. Teaching this is vital. Why? Because digital communication strips away nonverbal cues, making misunderstandings super common, and it opens the door wide to cyberbullying. Navigating this digital landscape safely is just as much a developmental milestone today as learning to ride a bike was a generation ago. To wrap up our lesson today, I want to leave you with this provocative reflection prompt directly from the source text. What is your opinion of school uniforms? Think about everything we've discussed regarding peer pressure, clothing preferences, and fitting in. How do uniforms impact a child's self-expression? Do they help address economic inequities among children? It's a fantastic thought to ponder long after this explainer finishes. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Stay focused and keep asking great questions.